Happy Friday evening, happy weekend. Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel coming at you. This is video number 3 of 4 for the day. Dropped a couple of baseball videos this morning for you, or one this morning, one early afternoon. Said I had 2 more. I've got this was the 3rd one. I'm going to record one right after this to release as well on the Lady Vols as well. But this one right here, Tennessee football. This is another huge recruiting weekend for them. And this will be right before the dead period for football recruiting. A lot of these guys visiting this weekend are working toward July decisions. So this will be the last time that they'll take visits before we get into that dead period. I'm going to kind of put these guys in the order based on what I'm reading, who I think Tennessee's going to get, who I think they may have a shot at, and who I think are long shots on this. So I'm going to start first on. First visitor on the weekend we'll go with is 4-star defensive back Shady Hayward, Lagonza Hayward, Lyons, Georgia. He's a top 100 prospect. Tennessee, for much of the process, has led for him. Now that official visits have started, though, those leaders have started to change a little bit. He's been to Georgia. Last weekend, he went to Florida. He's been to South Carolina. He referred to Florida as his leader coming out of last weekend. This weekend, he comes to Tennessee, last visit before the dead period, and he announces his decision July 27th. I believe Tennessee, who's been in such good standing this whole time prior to these visits, will make that big-time last impression. He says there's not much more for him to see other than kind of interaction and stuff with it. But I think when he returns this weekend, this team, this program that he's been so high on, will make that impression that will put them over the top once again. To me, when it comes down to it, I think the decision comes down to Tennessee and Georgia. I think that will be the two that does it. I think Tennessee, and again, I'm saying I think, it's because I don't know with recruiting. I had somebody criticize me for saying I think. These are educated guesses that I'm going on. It's going on reading where the recruitments have been going, what I'm reading, where they're at, how they've fluctuated along the way. So, yes, it's what I think. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm not going to know any of it until they sign on the dotted line. So, please be with me on that. I'm not just throwing crap against the wall to see what sticks on this. This is what I think. My prediction is Tennessee makes that move back to the top with Shady Hayward, and they close the deal on July 27th. The second one, this is one I'm interested in that I'm kind of fired up about. One that everything I've read, momentum has shifted as it's been primarily at Tennessee, Georgia. There's plenty of Tennessee, Georgia battles, but this one is one. And I'm kind of interested to see if George McIntyre makes an appearance this weekend. I know he was supposed to go to Elite 11, had a hand finger injury that put him out of it. But Travis Smith Jr. out of Georgia, this is one starting to remind me of the Mike Matthews recruitment from last year. It is a guy Georgia wants. But from what I'm reading, based on what Austin Price, based on what Ryan Callahan and these guys are saying, it's starting to feel like it's a Tennessee-Alabama battle. And Tennessee, I feel like, has been up at the top longer than Alabama. It's kind of like some of these recruits. Chaz Lanier, for example. When BYU come into the equation, people were freaking out about Kentucky. Old cool hand Frank Rock said the whole time, though, that Chaz Lanier, the consistent, was Tennessee. All right, so if this thing is shifted now to Tennessee, Alabama, who's been the consistent? That's Tennessee. From what I've read on it, Travis Smith Jr. has been talking with Mike Matthews a lot about leaving the state, the pressure that's on you to stay in state, yet Mike Matthews left the state. My prediction is Tennessee closes the deal this weekend when Travis Smith Jr. announces. Let me see if there's a date. There's not a date. Wait a minute. He is scheduled to announce on July the 13th. My prediction is Tennessee closes the deal this weekend. I don't know that we'll hear his announcement prior to then, but I'm predicting Tennessee lands Travis Smith Jr. So that's 2 of them I'm predicting to Tennessee. I think. A third one. Onus cannon banning is how. So out of my own neck of the woods last year, Columbia, South Carolina, Heathwood Hall Episcopal School. So he is originally from Montreal, Canada. Or actually, he's originally from France. spent time in London, England. And from what I've seen too, he spent time in Canada as well. At one point, 865 Live, he come out of that visit. He said Tennessee was his leader. Official visits then started. Florida State the weekend of May 31st. He come out and said Florida State's my leader. Still likes Tennessee. He went to North Carolina. North Carolina moved to the top of the group. Last weekend, he went to LSU. I haven't heard if LSU's top of the group or not. But Tennessee has stayed consistent. He's visited Tennessee numerous times on it. It says he wraps up his month of official visits now. And I'm not seeing a specific date for his announcement. So you got to think with official visits wrapping up, it could be any time. My prediction on it is that, yes, these visits, they sway, guys. That's why I say a lot of times what I think, what I don't know on it. It's because I don't, because these visits sway, guys. I cannot imagine these guys visited. They're getting the red carpet rolled out for them. When Canabani went to Florida State, he was the only official visitor. So Mike Norvell got plenty of one-on-one time with him from what I've read. This weekend, of course, there's multiple visitors, but Willie Martinez is listed as the lead recruiter. Can Tennessee finish the job here on a guy who, to me, seems like would be an excellent pickup? I am predicting Tennessee shifts that momentum back. Could I be wrong on these? Absolutely. I'm reading between the lines on each of these. I'm not going to predict every guy that visits this weekend to go to Tennessee. I try to be pretty honest about it. I feel like Tennessee shifts that momentum going to the dead period, and that's a third one that they will get. Another one, I think Tennessee will be in good shape. So Bryce Jenkins, defensive lineman, Washington, D.C. He was there for 865 Live. So his connection, his dad, Ron Hosley, played for Tennessee basketball. I'm not sure exactly the year on that, but he's been to South Carolina, Rutgers, Maryland. That's the big contenders for him. South Carolina is believed to have made a big impression. From what I've seen, though, Tennessee really wants him. He's listed as an offensive lineman, but I think Tennessee, from what I've read, Tennessee is recruiting him as a defensive lineman. 6'5", 326. Final visit this weekend. I don't see when his announced date is. My prediction is Tennessee swings it back, and they close the deal on this one. So that's 4 I feel they get out of this weekend. Now you get some wild cards in the mix here. So from what I've seen, the headliner of the weekend is considered Marion Dye, Elkhart, Indiana High School, defensive lineman, 6'5", about 255. I've seen on 3 had him around 268. So it is believed right now Purdue's the leader. He's visited Michigan. He's visited Ohio State. His out-of-state visits, Miami, Tennessee. But from what I've read, it says Tennessee has stayed consistent in this recruiting. And he has already visited 3 times since late July. That would be late July of last year, obviously, because we're not in a DeLorean right now. So he was here, it says, for the orange and white game. Says July or August decision. So again, last visit before the dead period. This one seems to me like Tennessee has a shot, but they're going to have to knock this one out of the park. And sometimes even knocking it out of the park, when those visits, kind of the allure of those visits wears down, they're not enough. But, it seems like he is the headliner. They're going to go all out for this guy. He would be a big-time addition. He's top 100 according to 24/7. And on 3, he's pretty highly rated across the board on that. And this may be 24/7 composite because one of them I saw has him like a 3-star. But I'm going to say that one's one that it's going to take some work. It's not impossible, but it is going to take some work for Tennessee to get him out of Big Ten country for sure. Another one is Douglas Utu. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. UTU. Las Vegas, Bishop Gorman. So there's a couple connections there. Cedric Tillman's one. Cedric Tillman come from there. And Bishop Gorman's wide receivers coach is a Vol legend. Marcus Nash was a big part of that 98 team. Not the 98 national title team, the team that won the 97 team. Let me back up on that 97 SEC championship team, because he caught the touchdown in the SEC championship for Peyton Manning that ended up being the difference in that game. But from what I've read, Utu's kind of quiet on his visits. So it's Tennessee does get the last shot at him. Looks like he's visited Alabama, Michigan, Nebraska, Washington on those visits. Who knows? You knock this one out of the park. He is another guard. He's top 100. He's rated very highly across the board. Maybe this is a guy, and maybe you have Marcus Nash. Maybe, I don't know what his if Cedric Tillman and he know each other or not, but hopefully Marcus Nash, that's a guy, can help you out there as well. Back to the Travis Smith Jr., another one that just reminded me of as well. Derek Tinsley played for the Vols in early 2000s. Guy came from Georgia. He's a coach down in Georgia, and I've seen that he's talked to Travis Smith Jr. as well, talked to him about what it is to lead. So he's got the right guys. We've got the right guys going for him. That's why I'm projecting Travis Smith Jr. to make that call for Tennessee. Other than that, some guys that are down here this weekend that I think you've got Jaden Woods. I'm sorry. He's out of Shawnee, Kansas. He has been high on Tennessee, 6'3", 240. He's visited Wisconsin and Penn State, Purdue. So this is expected. He's expected to announce next month. It seems like this one is maybe one Tennessee's behind in, but could a strong visit maybe push him to the front? Who knows on that one? A strong final visit can obviously make that impression with them. But Christian Gass, he is a defensive end linebacker from Georgia, Tennessee. This is another one that he seems pretty high on Tennessee. Georgia's pushing, though. He's visited USC and Kentucky, and it kind of seems to me like this will be a Georgia-Tennessee battle. And, with Georgia wanting him, making a strong impression last weekend, Tennessee's going to have a big visit this weekend to get him in the boat. He would be a great pickup for sure. Trey Petit, this is one I should have put him higher. His dad, Hank Petit, played in the NFL. He's now the cornerbacks coach at Iowa State, but Tennessee had said for a while they have led for Petit. And his only other official visit was Wisconsin. It comes down to this weekend. Tennessee, the crystal ball projections, which are not always accurate, but for the most part, they're pretty good. Has him on Tennessee. I do think Tennessee closes the deal on this one. So that's 5 guys this weekend I'm projecting Tennessee to get. And then, of course, you've got 3 already in the boat, guys. Rodarius Jackson, wide receiver out of Memphis. Justin Baker, running back out of Beaufort, Georgia. And then Joakim Dotson, a Memphis area, or he's at Baylor in Chattanooga now. He's from Memphis in Baylor in Chattanooga. Another receiver who's already in the fold as well. So it's potential out of this weekend with Tennessee, with them having 9 official visitors on it, that they could finish the weekend with most of these guys. Hayward's one, Travis Smith 2. I'm thinking Cannabani is how I heard it. I'm thinking that's how I heard it pronounced. 3. Bryce Jenkins 4. No, they're over 10. And then your 3 guys committed. That's 7. So they're over 10 visitors this weekend. I think this withstands. You combine it with last weekend. You close with David Sanders. This weekend's big as he goes to Ohio State. I think this is going to be the moment of truth with David Sanders. Everything I've read up to this point seems to me like it's a Tennessee-Ohio State battle. Obviously, Alabama's in there, Georgia. I think it's more Georgia-Clemson. But can Tennessee withstand the visit this weekend? This is the big one. That's the big one on the board. I think Tennessee's done everything they can do to get him in the fold. So we'll see from there. Big visit this weekend. Big visit weekend to shore up some positions around the board where they need guys. And, of course, Tennessee still needs linebackers. They still need defensive linemen. They could withstand, you added David Sanders, hopefully some of these other tackles. This still sets up to be a nice recruiting class along the way. But I'll keep you updated next weekend or next week after official visits are over, whether they get any commits, whether, any feedback we get going into that period. Probably be about Monday. I have some feedback on those for you, and maybe Sunday as well, leading into it. House of Orange live this weekend, right after each game of the College World Series Championship Series. That's still pretty mind-blowing to say. Tennessee, Texas A&M tomorrow night, 7:30 ESPN Eastern Time. Sunday, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, ABC. If necessary, Monday night, 7 o'clock ESPN. That is Eastern Time as well. I hope you'll join me for that. A couple baseball videos earlier. Right after this, I'm going to record a Lady Vols video about a couple big-time visitors coming in next week. And then barring anything else, that's going to wrap up 4 for 4 for the day. I have more for you tomorrow. But thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you have an awesome rest of your evening. Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel. Last but most certainly not least, go Vols.